Welcome to the Grow My Officiant Business Podcast. My name is Chad Muncie, and I'm delighted to have you on the show today. This is the podcast where wedding officiants, celebrants, and wedding business owners come to learn together and take their businesses to the next level. Let's get started. Hello, Officiate Nation. Welcome to the Grow My Officiant Business Podcast. This is Chad Muncie, and I hope your week has been blessed and wonderful. I know mine has been. Today, I'm really happy to have on the show a wonderful woman who I've gotten to know a little bit, and she really knows her stuff when it comes to telling her story. And this is what attracted me to her website, to her, is just finding out more about her, not even from her, but just from the stuff that she had put out. So she knows exactly what to do, how to get the word out to the world when it comes to your brand, your story. Chanelle Carlin is an expert officiant who has built an incredible business. Not only has she built an incredible business, but here's the part I love, and the reason that she's on the show today, her business is based on her personal brand. It's not a business name. It is Chanelle Carlin. It's based on her brand. And I teach all of my students, everybody I've ever talked to, that if you can build a foundation that is strong, it is your personal brand, then you can start a business, any kind of business you want based on that brand. So Chanelle, thank you so much for being on the show today.
You're so welcome, Chad. Although if I can just say, I don't ever feel like an expert. I'll just do that right
None of us do. None of us do. Unfortunately, some people look up to other people as experts, but everybody is always learning constantly. So
yeah.
Well, I am excited to kind of go into the ins and outs of how you built your business. So first off, tell us kind of where you're from and dive into the story about how you became an officiant.
Okay. Well, I live in Okanogan, Washington, which is north central Washington state, very rural, about 5 hours east of Seattle and about 50 miles south of the Canadian border.
Wow.
It's a really small agricultural community. A lot of folks here in ranching or farming or the recreation business. Lots of hunting, snowmobiling, mountains. We have mountains, lakes, rivers.
You have a lot more to do than me, so that's good.
If you like outdoor stuff, this is the place to be.
So cool.
If you like the big city, it's not as convenient. So we'll just throw that out there. But we have no shortage of things to do for folks who like other things other than big city.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. It's really beautiful here. But I'm not from here originally. I grew up on the other side of the mountains, nearer to Seattle, in a town called Everett. It has about 100,000 people. It sits on the Puget Sound, so different climate, different atmosphere, different way of doing business and thinking. And I've also traveled the country. I've lived up and down the West Coast. I lived in Ireland for 8 years.
Wow.
So I've really experienced a lot of life in a lot of different places, and I've been fortunate to meet so many different kinds of people and just live and experience life. I'm also a woman of faith, and I have been my whole life. And when I went to Ireland, I was confirmed as a Catholic. So I actually went through my confirmation classes with a local priest, which I can tell you as an adult in Ireland, that's very weird for them.
Oh, wow.
It took a while to get their head around
right.
it. And think, are you really wanting to learn this? Is this really, why do you want to do this? But that's okay, because it took them a long time to figure out why I wanted to live in Ireland as well. So I lived there for 8 years. And then when I came home primarily because I had this sense that it was time. Mm-hmm. And you have these points in your life where you just know something. You don't know exactly why, but you're being guided and led to do it. And you just know that It's the right time. And very soon after I returned home, my mom was diagnosed with dementia and a very serious, very rapid, kind of aggressive form of dementia. And in 7 years, she went from being fine, herself, to being a very different person, and she passed away in 2017.
Wow.
So
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. It was a really tough thing to watch. My brother and I, it brought us a lot closer because, we were the ones who had to kind of learn the ins and outs and try and find care for her and care for her. But it was one of those things that really made me glad I had come home from Ireland, and then made me realize all the things that are the most important to me. So my career, at that time, I was working in children's behavioral health in San Francisco. I left that job, came home just to care for my mom when she got really sick. And then it's just those things. So when she passed away, we had a difficult time finding a minister to officiate her funeral. We couldn't find anybody. We know lots of ministers. We couldn't find anyone to help us with that.
That's crazy, because usually when you think about a funeral, you just assume, there's going to be a minister. You know what I mean? That's
right. Yeah, there was no one that we knew that was available for her funeral, and so we went to the funeral home, and they fortunately put us in touch with somebody who did a fine job. At the funeral, though, I felt like, and even afterwards, and I talked to family, I thought, I could do that.
Right.
I could have done as good or better job.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want my family or friends to struggle finding someone again, like that. That's not a time, that's not a time you want somebody to struggle to find somebody. So I talked to my husband and I prayed about it, and I decided, okay, I'm going to find a way to do this. So I learned how to become ordained online, and I know that that's a controversial thing in our world,
right.
but in the state of Washington, it's legal. And so I went online, I became ordained, and I put myself out there as willing to support people for funerals. And no one in all this time has ever come to me for a funeral, which is okay.
Yeah.
They don't need me.
Right.
That's great. I made myself available. They don't need me. That's fine. And then I thought, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now with this. And so I prayed about it again, and weddings is I love weddings. I love celebrating love. That's perfect. So I just put it out there. I first put it out on Facebook, and I created a Facebook page, and I started there. And then I was contacted by the Knot. And I thought, well, that's paid advertising. I thought, well, if I'm going to have a business, you're going to have to pay for advertising at some point. So, okay, I'll give it a try. And so I signed up to pay for a listing on the Knot. And then I went through, had someone teach me what I needed to do to set up my Knot listing. And weddings started coming to me. I did 6 weddings in the first 6 months that I was ordained. And the following year, I did 30. And even this year, where we have struggled because of COVID-19, I have still done and by the end of the year, I will have done 30 weddings.
Wow. Your story is cool because it's not like you intended to just start a business. You kind of fell into this and were like, well, I need to be there for my family or whoever needs me. And then all of a sudden you have a business.
Right.
So
right.
That's really cool. So I consider this episode a lesson for everybody out there who is trying to start from scratch and build themselves, because I have built many businesses in my life. I've built a cleaning business. I've built a wedding business, but I've always thought it's so much better to build your own personal brand, your name, and that way you always have something like my mom taught me to fall back on, but your name means something. Your name, everybody, that has experienced you and how special you are at their wedding knows who Chanelle Carlin is as this amazing wedding officiant, and you've built this brand. So for all the people starting out there, when I look at your website, I think I told you the first time I talked to you, when I typed your name in Google, the whole first page was stuff about you. It wasn't just Chanelle Carlin's website and then other things about other people named Chanelle. It was all about Chanelle Carlin. So I think it's really important to learn how the first steps that you took. You said you used wedding wire, but I know that somehow you got your name all over Google. So tell us a little bit about those steps and things, the foundation for how you started building good content and how someone can introduce themselves like that.
So I think the first thing to really keep in mind is that didn't happen overnight.
Okay.
So I've been doing this now for 3 years, and it has been just recently that you could Google and see the whole first page be me, because I used to Google myself and I would see other Chanelles, and they, the Chanelle that is on a TV show that my stepson watches, and I'm like, that's not me. Shoot. So that's fairly new. I do have a verified Google business. I have verified my business through Google Business. I do have my own website. I don't rely only on social media. I built my website, and you don't have to build your own website if you have somebody else that can do it for you. But I do have a website, and not every officiant does. And I've actually had clients tell me that. I do pay for advertising. I do have free advertising as well. And then I'm active. So, not only do I have a Facebook page, a business page, but I am active in it. And if people comment, I comment back, and I let them know I appreciate them. But I do have a marketing plan for my Facebook page, and I utilize it. I have an Instagram page, and that one I'm still working on learning a bit more about. I've done videos. I have a YouTube channel, which at this moment has 1 subscriber, but that's okay.
Right.
Those are the things I've done. But the real key, I think, has been figuring out who I am as an officiant, and who do I want to serve, and how do I want to do this? Now that I have a business, right? Now that it's a business, how do I want to do it? I had to sit and think, what do I want my business to look like? So it's me. Who am I? How do I want to serve these couples, and who am I going to best interact with, and what is it about me? So I just started thinking about it. I shared my story just like I shared it with you. That's on my website. I shared who I like to work with and who I best work with. And it's not that I don't want to do weddings for anybody, but I love doing outdoor weddings in the Pacific Northwest that happen to be intimate and, do elopement. So that's where I focus my energy, and those are the people that come to me. So it's really about kind of spending the time thinking about it. And then there's also, here's the thing, I had to lose some ego. And I had to be willing to learn from other people. Because that sometimes is hard too. We know we don't know everything, but we sometimes think we have to look like we do. And that's so that's been something I've I have a mentor and a coach who says that the best personal development program you can ever go through is becoming an entrepreneur. So I totally agree with that. It's like, I don't know everything, and I'm learning along the way. And that's really, so that's been a big part of it too, is, I've followed the steps, but I've also been learning. I don't look at it as something that's just something I want to do. Not only is this my brand and is it me, but I want to be the best version of me for my couples. It's a huge honor when someone contacts me about officiating their wedding. It's the most important day that they maybe have had in their life to that point, and it's one of the most that's going to last them through their lifetime. So it's an honor when someone asks me to officiate their wedding or just asks me questions about it. And so I want to make sure that I'm the best version of myself that I can be. So losing the ego, trying to be serious about being a businesswoman, and being honest and authentic. Right. One of my clients uses that word a lot, being authentic. So.
I think that's incredible advice, and something that I hope that everybody is seeing, something that I'm seeing, that even this is a really important lesson. And I think a lot of people give up on this too soon. You've been doing this, what'd you say, 3 years? Mm-hmm. So every year you have seen continuous growth, but I think it's still important that you have been checking all the boxes. You've been doing all the things consistently, even if you didn't see results on that thing within the first month. Like you said, YouTube, you've only got the one subscriber, but you're still doing it because that will grow as you grow. And a lot of people, I feel like they try to tell their story. They try to use they try to use Facebook. They try to use YouTube. They try to use these different outlets. But if it doesn't work the first month and a half or 2 months, they give up. Oh, it's not working. But it takes consistently telling your story, like you just said, being authentic and understanding that it takes time. That's the first thing you said. It takes time. I think a lot of people give up on this, too soon. So I love the authenticity. And that's one of the things that really interested me about you. Like, I looked at your website, I read through it, and I felt like I had already talked to you. I felt like I already knew who you were. What is your website, by the way? So I want people to go check it out.
ChanelleCarlin.com.
See, there you go. ChanelleCarlin.com. So go check that out if you're listening to this. So you cover a large area. And I know there are a lot of officiants who are in more rural places like you. They're in small towns and they feel like, oh, I'm never going to grow my officiant business. But I mean, you go long distances for people. And I think that's something that I'm the same way. I'm in a little town called Swansboro. We're on the coast of North Carolina, but the big cities are, further away, and I'm willing to go do it. So I want to discuss a little bit about places with smaller populations. How do you charge for it? How do you deal with the extra time, the extra driving? Give us a little bit of insight there.
So, I have changed, my rates have changed over time. When I first started, I didn't have as much experience, I didn't have as much knowledge, and my rates were lower. I think and people found me differently than they do now. Right. But so I charge for the service. I create custom ceremonies for couples, and that takes some time. It takes some time to get to know them, and I mean, not a huge amount of time, but I take the time to get to know them.
Sorry to interrupt. So every ceremony that you do is completely custom.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Unless somebody says, I don't want a custom one, can you just sign our paperwork?
That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. So I spend time getting to know them, and whether it's a Zoom call or a phone call, or back in the day when we could do in-person meetings. Right. I spend some time getting to know the couple, listening to their story, listening to how they interact with one another, listening to their vision for their wedding, and getting a feel for their personalities. And so I spend some time doing that, and with them, I craft their ceremony. So I will take it away. I draft a ceremony script for them. I send it to them. What do you think of this? What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Do you want to do your own vows? Do you want me to do them? Traditional, non-traditional. Right. I even ask them what they want me to wear. So I put everything we're partners in that. And so it's a custom ceremony, so I do charge for that. And that's a fee. That's just one fee. I also include 2 hours travel time and mileage from my home to wedding places. That's included in my fee. If they want me to go outside of that 2 hours, I'm still happy to do that. And then I have extra prices for that. So if I'm going to Seattle, there's a fee. There's extra that's added on to that, and I just give them that fee. If I'm going to the San Juan Islands, which is the far side of the state, it's a whole lot further. There's a whole lot more travel time and expenses. It takes me the better part of a day to do that.
That's amazing.
Because you've got mountain passes, we've got ferries, there's a lot that goes into that. So there's extra stuff there, but I am open about that the whole time from the very beginning. So if they want to book me for a wedding on the San Juan Islands or a wedding at the ocean, they know from the very beginning. I also have that on my website. You can go down and see how I work. You see what my fee is, and then it's in there that if you need me to go outside of these areas, there may be extra fees involved. Now, during 2020, I have not charged those extra fees. It's just been my one fee. And I did that because so many people were in such difficult circumstances for COVID. That was my gift to couples.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's huge, giving a little, especially in this time. That's a way we can kind of come together. So I know I've looked at your website, and this is something that me and you have previously discussed. I have offered, and I actually have done it, but I know you offer premarital counseling, right, on your website. Have you ever done that?
No, I haven't. Nobody's sorry. I'm fixing the light. The light is
No, you're
changing.
good. Oh yeah,
in front of the
I saw
window,
it. Yeah.
and I can see myself with the leaves on my face.
I have to cover mine with blankets and stuff because the sunlight hits it.
So sorry if you can't see me.
Oh, you're good. I can see you.
So I offer coaching, and I offer it in two forms actually. I am no longer a licensed counselor, and I didn't want to do that anymore, do that work anymore. But I have a lot of experience, just in life, and I am married, and I wanted to make sure for people that might be interested in that, I offer two different types of coaching. I have coaching that's prior to your marriage, so it's like setting up your marriage for success, dress your marriage for success. And then I have Newlywed Bliss, which is sessions before and afterward, so 4 on either side of your wedding. Because the one thing that people forget is that once you're married, not everything is always perfect, right?
That's absolutely true.
And there's stuff afterwards, you're like, oh man, if I could just ask somebody. So, it's one of those things that's available, but so far, nobody has come to me for that. And I think there's 2 reasons for that. One is that people who are coming to me have been together most of the time for quite a while. They're not new couples. They're not newly together. Most of my couples have been together 5 to 10 years. Now, not all of them, but most of them. And they're also, some of them, this is their second marriage, and so there's been some life experience as well. But then there's a number of them that are coming to me in a very short, their wedding is like just within a few weeks or a couple of months. So they're really focused on the wedding at that point, not the marriage piece. But I always let people know I'm available and just to support them.
That's so cool.
It's not necessarily about the coaching.
Yeah. And so the reason I brought that up is because I offer that as a service, but I rarely do it. And I have done it in the past because I actually, I worked in the church, and in a ministerial role, I was the music minister and all this stuff. And I used to actually help with that, with the counseling, but it's the same thing that I was going to bring up. You hit the nail on the head. Your target customer is completely different, and my target customer is the same way. I do a lot of elopements. I do a lot of older couples who come to me, same thing. And I was going to point that out because I think if somebody wanted to be interested in that, or offer that as a service, that's fine, but you have to be okay with, if that's not your target customer, you might not do that, and if you do want to do more of that, if you're listening to my voice right now and you want to get into counseling really heavily, you're going to have to change your business model and figure out, how to attract that. But like you and me, I'm okay with, if I do it, I do it. If I don't, I don't. I love what I do. And I know you do too. So I just wanted to bring that up. If I was a new officiant, because I know there's people that are going to listen to this episode that are new, and you could give me the most valuable advice that you could give me, what would it be?
There's a number of things.
Okay.
I thought about that a lot. And there's more and more and more and more that comes to me. As a new officiant, so first think about why you want to be an officiant.
That's a good one.
It's not a business that for most of us is going to make us rich. It's not that you can't have a business that pays you, that it's a viable business, but there are other industries that will make you wealthy. So I would just say, think about why you want to be an officiant. Is it because you love weddings and you love and you're excited about that? Or because somebody asked you to do it, you thought, yeah, I could do this and it's kind of fun. And that's not bad either. But then think about your business, the business model, why you want to do it, and spend time thinking about that and thinking about who you are and who you want to be as an officiant. And I would say get coaching. Talk to people who, sorry, I'm just fixing the lighting here again. Talk to people who are experienced. So officiants in your local area, local ministers, get their insight and ask them if you can shadow them, if there's a way you can help them so you can learn from them. This is not a competitive business. This is how can I help be supportive in this,
Right.
So that's, I would say, learn from everybody that you can learn from. Read. I read all the time. be open to learning, and figure out who it is that you are in your business and how you want it to look.
Those are such good answers, man. I love it. That's great advice. I hope that sinks into some people. Yeah. I think you
I'm
nailed
looking,
it.
did I forget anything?
No, that was really good. I think I can't even say anything to that. I mean, thinking about why you want to become is like the whole thing. If you can't write a story on your passion behind it, and there's this that's missing, you can't do this. You can't do the business. You know what I mean? There's got to be some kind of passion behind it. Unless you're doing it for a friend, that's fine. But
Right.
I love that. What are the most important things in your business, your specific business, that create a memorable experience for your customers?
So I have recently been asking my couples, my ideal couples, what it is, why they want to work with me, what it was that they found, most helpful, and, what would they say about me? And so the things that really, that they came back to me with, because, it's hard to think about this for yourself. Well, I think it's these things, but they're the ones who are working with you. And so they're the ones who have hired me. They're the ones who know why they wanted to work with me. So one was that, and this has been the first response that they all have said to me, I look like they're people. And what was really funny was that they all look very different. They're all different couples, and they have very, they're from different parts of the state. I've served couples from different parts of the country who have come here, but that's the one thing they've all told me is I look like they're people. So that tells me that I have been, I'm relaxed. They said I was relaxed, friendly. I listened to them. I look like I could hang out with their family and their friends, just, whatever way it was coming across. So those things. One of my most recent couples, she just, they came to me with 3 weeks left before their wedding because their previous officiant wasn't able to do their wedding. Wow. And so we created their ceremony, and she said that she was really nervous until they talked to me. And then even when she was coming out to be married, she was still a little nervous until we started, and then she was fine. But in the pictures that she sent to me, and she sent me an email afterwards, she says, you're really meant to do this because look at the joy on your face.
Oh, wow.
Celebrating our marriage. And it truly, I love doing this. So that was really touching to me, was that my joy and their love came through, that they appreciate being able to be part of this planning process. Most times when people come to me to do their wedding ceremony, they haven't thought about the ceremony. They don't know that it can be anything they want it to be. And my desire is to make sure it's a true reflection of the two of them. Right. So as they look back on their wedding in years past, it's not just something rote that they can't remember. It was all about them, all about their story, amazing. All about their love. And in doing that, then they're part of the process crafting that. It really is all about them.
Yeah, that's great. And I think the reason people find you, and then when they talk to you, they feel like they know you, that you look like they're people, is because they found you through your story. Your story's on everything. I really think that is the foundation, which is a great lesson in this episode. Share your passion and your story, and then the people that find you, you're like their people. That's great. I love it. That's so cool. So do you have any other advice? You've killed it. You've given us lots of value today. Do you have any other advice that could help other entrepreneurs, other business owners, other officiants?
I think mostly, so be open to learning. So I've been doing this and be open to making mistakes. And one of the things that in the group that we belong to online, I notice a lot of the time, it's a safe space to do this, but I notice a lot of people vent their frustration and things that go wrong. And one of the things that I don't do that online ever. Right. If I have a frustration, I'll talk to my husband about it, and I'll do it immediately afterwards, and I'll let it go, because there's something in it for me to learn. What did I do? What did I not do? What can I do to make that situation better? Better for the couple, better for me, better for the whole. What is it that I can learn? So be open to making mistakes and learning from them. I think is a really big thing. I read all the time. And I am trying to learn more as I go. And I read things like poetry. I don't just read self-development and self-help books. I do read those. I'm also learning about finances, so my business. I get coaching. I receive coaching from people who are more knowledgeable and more experienced than I am, and I pay for that coaching because I think it's important. I could go on and on and on, but I'll stop there.
That's so good. So everything that you're talking about today, we're going to put it in our show notes page on our website. I'm going to try to get all this typed out and laid out in there so that it'll help somebody and somebody can find it, and all of this will be recorded. And so the last 3 questions are your personal favorites, is so that we can get to know you just a little bit more, and it will also be incredibly valuable to us, these last 3. So quickly answer whatever comes to mind. What are your favorite, first of all, tools to use in your business?
So I thought about this a lot. So first is I have a practice of gratitude. And so that is my first and foremost every day. And I try to make it part of who I am every day, all day long, is really looking at everything from the perspective of being grateful. And that's even the challenging things, because they always give me something to learn from. So that's one. 2 is I have just recently started using a computer, a CRM, and it's tave.com. And you can use any one that you want to. And I've always been afraid to do it because I felt like it would take me out of my business. Right. But what it does do instead is it allows me to systematize the work that can be systematized.
Oh, and so
then I can actually give more time to the writing of my ceremonies. And I send handwritten notes to all of my couples.
Wow.
So the creating of their gifts and the writing of their notes, that I can put more of me into, but the other things that can be systematized are systematized. And I don't have to try and remember, did I send that card?
Right.
Did I send them a contract? It's actually right there.
So smart. So spell that out. What was the website?
Tave.com, TAVE.
Perfect.
And it was set up for photographers, but it works for anyone. So that's second one. So gratitude and Tave. And then so I have 4. It's a good old fashioned communication, having, conversations, writing notes, making my couples feel special. So I send them cards, I send them notes, I text, I email, but just, that good old fashioned post office communication. Right. My mail lady gets mail from us on a couple times a week. And I go out and I put up the little flag on my mailbox and she takes out the cards to my couple.
That's so cool.
And then I also utilize our auditor's offices. So in the state of Washington, when you get your marriage license, you get that from the county auditor. And I actually am on a list with several county auditors throughout the state. I chose them strategically.
Right.
And so that if couples needed a wedding officiant and they're kind of at the last minute when they're getting their marriage license, that they could find someone. That was back to that whole funeral thing. They need an officiant. They need someone who's going to do the best job for them that they can. So getting to know the auditors and utilizing that as a resource. And it's free advertising.
That's
and
so
I get
cool.
most of my stuff, my referrals from that.
Wow, that's awesome. Such good advice. So what is something that has impacted you? This can be anything that you want to suggest what question did I just ask you? I just asked favorite tools. Oh my goodness. Okay. So give me a favorite quote, first of all, or best piece of advice you've received.
Okay. To smile and love what I do. And again, that goes back to that client who shared with me that that she loved seeing my joy in their celebration of love and in their marriage. And that really was how they could tell everybody that I definitely am doing what I need to be doing. And in the picture that she sent to me, she showed me, and I was like, oh, that's lovely. It actually does look like I really enjoy it. And I do. So do it because you enjoy it. If you want to be an officiant or whatever it is that you want to do it because you enjoy it and you love it, and be yourself. That's really
good. That's good advice. So do you have really quickly, do you have a favorite book that you talk about reading all the time? Do you have a favorite book that you can suggest?
I have 4.
Cool. Okay, good. Tell us.
So my first one, Wallace Wattles, The Science of Being Rich. He also does The Science of Being Great and Being Well, Science of Getting Rich. And it really talks about envisioning your life and envisioning who it is that you want to be and what it is that you want to have. And It's such an easy read. And all of my coaches and mentors have read this book and always recommended it to me.
Wow.
Thankfully, I love it. I think it's brilliant. Financial Intelligence for Entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And it's basic. I mean, it takes you to, if you're going to have a business, you have to understand finances. And it is not my strong suit naturally. So this is income statements, profit and loss, kind of just, it doesn't go into the nitty gritty. You're not going to become an accountant from looking at this, but you are going to start to understand the art of finances.
Sweet.
And that's really, really helpful. So
Right.
This one. And then 2 other ones. My mentor, Gina DeVee, it's The Audacity to Be Queen. And it's really about being yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's, as a woman, it's okay to be a woman, to be feminine, and to be yourself, and to do that unapologetically. So often we think we have to fit into a cookie cutter mold, and we don't. None of us does, and we shouldn't try to. We can do things in a similar fashion, and there are systems that are great, but we still need to be who we are.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we're created the way we are,
Right.
to be who we are. And we're a gift. And just in that alone, just the
stuff.
fact that we are here, we are a gift. So I love that. And then the last one is, now I'm just going to say, this is a Gratitude 540. It is by Alexis Thompson, and it is a story. It's a book of individual stories. And just to share with you, I do have a story in there, but all of the stories are about gratitude and the authors, the individual authors, and being grateful for a person in their life. And so they've shared in this book these really magical, impactful stories. And so if you're thinking about, how do I do a practice of gratitude, get a book on gratitude or read stories about them. And it's just, every time I read one in here, I feel so good and I feel so impacted. So
I love
those are my books.
Those are such good books. So I'm going to make sure that we have all of those listed on the show notes. And then I guess all of those you can probably buy on Amazon, right?
Yep.
Sweet. Okay.
Yep.
So maybe I'll have links to those too. Okay. Thank you so much for all that. That was amazing. Do you have anything else to say? Actually, tell us where we can find out more about you. You've already told us your website. What are you're on what social media platforms?
I am on Facebook.
Okay.
So you can find me on Facebook at Chanelle Carlin Weddings.
Okay.
Instagram, Chanelle.Carlin. I have Pinterest, Chanelle Carlin Weddings. Let's see what else. YouTube, Chanelle
Sweet.
Carlin Weddings.
Okay.
And like the Instagram and YouTube they're just starting. So just,
right.
As you know.
That's right. So everybody go
I've
out
been on Facebook a long time. But
get on her Instagram. Give her some Instagram. So thank you so much for being on today. I think we've all learned a tremendous amount of valuable things, and I hope that people will take this and put it into practice, especially on how you have transformed your business and made incredibly happy customers by telling your story, getting them to know you and realize, oh, this is really who I read about. This is an amazing person. And I think it's really important that everybody learns how to do that and does that in their own business. So thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, Chad. It was my honor and pleasure.
Well,
and good luck with your podcast.
Well, thank you so much.
Awesome.
I appreciate that. I'm going to put a lot of effort into it, and consistency. Keep on putting them out. So again, thank you to everybody out there listening. I want to hope that you've had a great day today. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. And Officiant Nation, please go check out the show notes page if you have any interest in learning more about what Chanelle gave us today, the books, the thoughts, the ideas. Check it out, and we will see you next time.